nonviolent substance abuse disorder decisions where they need treatment and not prison. Black people, for example, are only 6% of California's population, but they comprise 30% of those incarcerated in the prison industrial complex. We cannot incarcerate ourselves out of this systemic issue of poverty and race, institutionalized racism. These are the issues that are driving the crime in our communities, the things that make our communities unsafe when we lack housing, when we lack food, when we lack opportunity, when we have high unemployment and growing homelessness. Instead of being tough on crime, we need to be smart about crime. And that's why I'm bringing forward two bills, SB 1282 and SB 1416. SB 1282 will require counties to create diversion programs rather than prison sentences for theft-related offenses. I'm not saying that we're not going to be holding folks accountable to the actions that they take, but we will not rely on incarceration as a solution, but rather look for ways to build training, create career skills, build industry networks that drive our folks into contribution to our communities and not extraction through incarceration. These life-changing programs we know do reduce crime. And in some cities across the country, the data has shown that when we use diversion programs, that represents about 75% decline in future convictions. So let's put our resources in solutions and not in traps that further destabilize our communities. I also am introducing SB 1446, which brings unions and grocers and prosecutors together to deal with the proliferation of automated checkout stands where retail theft is rampant. It is important that we adapt to new technologies, but we must protect consumers and workers at the same time. The reduction of these checkout counters that create chronic understaffing and overwork crisis in our stores lead to a hotbed of retail theft. We must understand what is happening with self-checkout counters, and this bill will require a comprehensive impact assessment of how those checkout automation counters would affect job loss and ultimately retail theft and improve our public safety. We already know that punitive measures don't fix the root cause, and we want to deal with the root cause of the crisis. And that's why I'm here today, so honored to be a part of this smart solution to how we make our community safer.
Thank you, Senator. Next, we have Senator Skinner, whose bill SB 1144 is also included in our platform.
Thank you, James. So what you see here are people committed to public safety. And at a point when California is in a deficit, to go to a position of trying to incarcerate more people, when we have finally begun to reverse the fact that California was the poster child for mass incarceration, at a cost, let me remind you, of at least $90,000 per person, why we would go back to those days at a point of deficit makes no sense. The other thing that it doesn't seem popular to hear is that with the exception of a few communities and a few categories, crime is down. Murder rates are down. And again, it doesn't seem popular, and it doesn't seem like people want to believe it or hear it, because the narratives that keep being thrown at us is like somehow we're all just, crime is rampant, but it is down. So smart solutions to public safety that are committed to actually achieving public safety is the way to go. And that's what is represented here today in the package of bills that we are talking about and hearing about. So my bill, SB 1144, deals with, and this is real, organized retail theft. When I say organized, I'm talking about crime rings, entities that pay somebody a little bit to go in and steal some stuff, and then they collect huge amounts of that stuff, and they either, in one case, the San Francisco police, for example, busted a warehouse in Hayward or Fremont where the organized retail theft ring was filling shipping containers and shipping this stolen goods. But what we are seeing more and more, just like all of us, where do we buy our things now? Online. So, of course, the people who are trying to fence their stolen goods are selling them online. And that's what we have to put a stop to. So I carried a bill a couple of years ago that put in some very good protections to help us be able to get at those people that are using online marketplaces to sell stolen goods. However, now people are getting around it. What are they doing? They're advertising their stolen good on these marketplaces, but then not having the transaction right on the marketplace. So when you don't have the transaction, if you don't have the, like Amazon or eBay or whatever, if you don't use it to actually pay for the stolen good, then it's much harder for law enforcement to track. So my bill 1144 puts in some sensible guardrails so that we can protect against the fact that most of these stolen goods now are being sold online. And I'm very proud that the bill is a package of the Senate's. The Senate has a package on this, on dealing with some of the issues that are facing us today, and SB 1144 is right there in it. And then I have another bill that's trying to make it easier for us to use our red flag or gun violence restraining orders, and it enables us to get those weapons out of the hands of people who are a threat to themselves or others. And with that, I thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Next, we have Assemblymember Eloise Reyes, whose bill AB 1956, the Crime Victim Services Stabilization Act, is also on our platform.
Thank you so much, James. I always appreciate being here with my colleagues who have taken an active role in smart justice. We stand today to say that the status quo is not working. But it doesn't mean that we're going to move backwards and rehash the failed war on drugs and other corresponding policies. What it means is that we must move forward with new solutions that address core issues, like access to overdose treatment, support for comprehensive care for crime victims, and addressing retail theft by disrupting the third-party marketplaces harboring these products. And I appreciate the comments from the senators who have spoken before me. Our friends and neighbors demand solutions, and it's our duty to provide them. I'm proud to have two bills as part of this package, AB 1842 and AB 1956. AB 1842, it will eliminate barriers to overdose treatment in our battle against fentanyl. What we're finding is that when our young people are going into an emergency room, they need treatment, they have to get pre-authorization. If you're Medi-Cal, they don't need this, but they do if you're private pay. There's a problem there. And then they're sent home with their prescription. They can't fill it, and they're right back into the emergency room. We've got to find a better way to provide this treatment without having to go through these hoops. AB 1956 will ensure we do not encounter major reduction in victim services for those who have suffered from sexual assault, human trafficking, and various other crimes. We have heard that the federal government is going to reduce our Victims of Crime Act funding by a substantial amount, almost $1 billion. California needs to step up and make sure that whenever our funding is being reduced at the federal level, we never let it get so far down that our victims are the ones who are victimized once again. These efforts will make a difference and advance proven solutions that improve community safety and the well-being of all Californians. I look forward to moving my bills, and I look forward to being one of the authors of this package of bills on smart justice. I also want to add that the truth is Californians are looking to us for real and honest solutions. They don't want us to just come up with some knee-jerk reactions. They want pragmatic policies that will ensure our communities are safe. And I am confident that we will answer that call and deliver results with a package of bills that we call through today's press conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Reyes. Next to join us is Assemblymember Tina McKenna, whose bipartisan measure, AB 2833, is included in our platform.
Good morning. I am so proud to be here with my colleagues as we talk about smart justice, as we come up with smart solutions to some of these problems. Good morning, my justice warriors. My name is Assemblymember Tina McKenna, and I am Black, I am a woman, I am progressive, and I am a smart justice warrior. I'm opposed to modifying or repealing Prop 47, and I'm proud to stand here today with the clear message. We must continue our work to end mass incarceration in California, full stop. We must continue to work to end mass incarceration in California. Contrary to the MAGA talking points, California is actually safer today because the voters approved Prop 47. Recidivism is down, unemployment is down, and hope is returning to families that lost it just a generation ago. Now is not the time to reverse the hard work of millions of Californians like you who have seen firsthand that the tough on crime policy of the 1990s didn't make us safer. It broke up families. It left families without a mother or a father. It first forced families into cycle of poverty. Now is the time to continue our work to make smart changes to the criminal justice system. Smart changes like AB 2833. AB 2833 will ensure that any information shared in the preparation for, in course of, or pursuit to the restorative justice process is confidentially and inadmissible in any further court proceeding. Restorative justice is an essential pillar of making our criminal justice system more fair, just, and equitable. Restorative justice recognizes the trauma of victims and preparatory of crimes and provides a constructive space for victims to find healing. Healing that will help victims to find peace. Healing that will help victims find forgiveness. Healing that will break the chain of recidivism. My AB 2833 will be heard in the Assembly Public Safety Committee this morning, and I hope you will join me in a few minutes to support this important legislation. Will you join me? Yes. Will you stand with me and support my AB 2833? Yes. Thank you. Now, unfortunately, some members of the legislation have introduced bills this year that will move California backwards in our work for a smarter justice system. What do we do? Well, what do we say to legislation that won't make us safer but will promote mass incarceration? We say no. Once again, what do we say to legislation that won't make us safer but will promote mass incarceration in our state? No. We say no. Let me give you an example of a bad bill that is currently being considered in the Assembly. Let me start by stating the obvious. Theft is bad. Retail theft is bad. Organized retail theft is bad, and retail theft is already against the law in California. And yet, some of my colleagues have introduced AB 1990, which will not reduce retail theft in California, but it will increase mass incarceration and speculative arrest of Black and brown people. Like I said, retail theft is already a crime in this state. If a law enforcement individual witnesses retail theft, they can arrest that person today. If a security guard or an employee at a store sees someone engaging in retail theft, they can call law enforcement and that suspect can be arrested today. We don't need AB 1990 because we don't need to empower our security guard partners to be able to do their jobs. If law enforcement does not witness a retail theft but has evidence to support an arrest, either by witness or video evidence, that suspect can be arrested today. If someone steals more than $950 from a retail establishment, law enforcement can arrest and charge that suspect with the felony today. AB 1990 is dangerous because it denies basic constitutional protection for any person suspected of theft. Current law allows law enforcement to make warrantless arrests for misdemeanors relating to domestic violence, violation of a restraining order, or carrying concealed firearm at an airport that did not occur in the officer's presence. Should petty theft be added to this list? No. Under AB 1990, if law enforcement did not witness a crime being committed, they could arbitrarily arrest someone that they simply suspect committed retail theft. This dangerous change would, in plain terms, allow law enforcement to detain and arrest anyone by simply claiming that they had reasonable cause, not even probable cause, a lower undefined standard to arrest that person, and it could be done without a warrant or from a witness or video evidence. And unfortunately, based on public available data on detention and arrest, AB 1990 would disproportionately harm Black and brown communities. Addressing retail theft is going to take all of us to work together. We need all our retail partners, we need all our security guard partners, we need all our law enforcement partners, and we need our state and local partners to work together. Just in the past year, the state invested over $267 million on top of our budget investments to combat retail theft. The $260 million went to cities and counties to hire more law enforcement and to increase patrols and to respond to calls for service. We do not need AB 1990 that would only increase warrantless detentions of Black and brown Californians. We want to give our law enforcement partners a chance to implement a process to crack down on petty theft, period. Now, I don't claim to know everything, you guys, but I do know a few things. I know that you showed up big time today, and that these amazing organizations that are here showed up every day to help make our criminal justice system more fair, more just, and more equitable. I know that we need to support my AB 2833. I know that we need to oppose AB 1990. And I know that the journey is a marathon, not a sprint. So be sure to wear your comfortable shoes, drink lots of water, and fill your heart with love and demand for the justice that all people in California deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember McKenna. Joining us now is Dr. Amy Moulin, founder of the California Bridge Program and professor at UC Davis School of Medicine.
Thank you. I want to talk today about addiction, which is the real crisis facing people in our community today. As an emergency physician, I watch the toll that addiction, overdose, and fentanyl takes on our patients, families, and our communities. This is the real crisis that we need to be addressing in California today. And what we need for this is to focus on treatment, access to treatment. What I want you to know today is that addiction is treatable. We have medications, we know how to treat this disease that are highly effective, that work. We are just not getting treatment to the people who need it. Too often, people face barriers in the system of care and are not able to get treatment. There is a myth that people who are using drugs, who are struggling with addiction, don't want help. There is a myth that we have to force them into treatment. That is simply not true. Our California Bridge program for the past 5 years has offered low barrier access to treatment in emergency departments throughout California. And what I can tell you from that experience is people want help. When I offer someone treatment for addiction in the emergency department, most of them say, yes, today I want help. They are started on medications in that visit because they are so anxious to receive treatment. We then have to have trained navigators to help them navigate the system. But too often they face barriers, denials, delays. There are insurance problems. There are problems with transportation. You don't make it to clinic at the right time with the right insurance, with the right paperwork, you get turned away and denied. At the pharmacy, there are denials and delays. We have made it too hard for people to access treatment and to get the help that they need. We need to do better. We can do better. People want help. This package of bills prioritizes low barrier access to treatment. We need to remove these barriers and provide the evidence-based practical solutions to help people get the treatment that they need. Addiction is a medical problem. It is a treatable medical disease. We know how to treat it. We can solve this problem. Addiction is not a law enforcement problem. Treating people who have a medical disease as criminals just reinforces that cycle of self-shame, of stigma, and it keeps people from asking for help. Too often I see people who have been turned away and treated so poorly for so long that they are afraid to ask for help. They are afraid that they won't make it because of the barriers we have put in place in front of them. They are afraid that they don't deserve help, and that is simply not true. This Smart Justice package is the right way to address the real crisis facing Californians with that smart, practical approach, and I urge everybody to support this package of bills. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mullen. I should note that we have advocates and spokespersons available after the press conference today for brief interviews, although our lawmakers will have to quickly head to committees this morning. Please join me in welcoming our final speaker, Chairman Joseph James, Chair of the Yurok Tribe.
Good morning. Aikwi Neknau, Joseph James, Chairman of the Yurok Tribe. I come from the village of Shrega on Locoed and Klamath River. As the Yurok Tribal Chairman, I am honored and happy to be here today to see the tribal justice and safety issues as part of the Smart Solution Policy Platform. The Yurok Tribe and the California Tribe have been working for decades to address the public safety and justice and the epidemic of missing and murdered indigenous people. California has the largest population of Native Americans of any state in the United States and the 5th largest caseload of missing and murdered indigenous people. The crisis has taken too many of our loved ones from us. There are clear policy solutions to address this crisis that legislation must adopt in 2024. We deeply appreciate the platform's evaluation for our calls for action. Today we are calling for action regarding bills AB 81. The bill seeks to strengthen California's implementation of the Federal Indian Child Welfare Act, ICWA. Also, Bill 1863, the bill strengthens the federal alert system to have a stronger system in place for Native American people to go missing. California is the only 4th state in the United States to have some type of alert system regarding murdered and missing indigenous people. MIP has been going on for decades, and I'm proud and privileged to be honored to be part of this, but this is just one tool that we are working on. AB 1878, the bill will improve tribal housing by making changes to existing state housing programs to ensure the program meets tribal needs. Also, AB 2108, the bill protects murdered, missing from foster care by developing protocol counties that require tribes and other essential parties to notify when children go missing. All these bills are called for actions and are important to protect the Native people, families, and children to ending the MMI crisis and creating wellness in our communities. We are very honored and grateful for the Smart Solutions platform for lifting these funding and legislation solutions. On behalf of the Yurok Tribe, Wakla, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. You heard it from these lawmakers. Effective, smart solutions to our state's public safety issues are on the table. We urge lawmakers to support these measures and others that move California away towards true public safety and away from legacies of incarceration. If you haven't received a copy of the platform, please see Josh Stickney right there for print or digital versions, and thank you for joining us today. MC.